Hey everybody, Onepeg here. Just kind of got up a couple of minutes ago, but there's a whole lot of stuff that changed in the last couple of days that I figured we need to talk about. I'll try to keep this as brief as possible and give you guys like kind of the main idea of what's been going on. More or less, we can summarize this entire last couple of days, really almost a week worth of little hot fixes and changes as Nikita doesn't like you having endurance or good ergo on most everything that you think is fun. Because Tarkov's not supposed to be fun. It's not a fun game. You're not allowed to have fun. No one gets to have fun. Okay? Okay. For the rest of you that are wondering exactly what I mean by that, I'll give you a couple of seconds and we'll talk about statistics. Okay, so a little bit earlier, maybe about a week ago, there were a bunch of changes that got made to ergonomics. In a lot of cases, it had to do with things like AK stocks and compensators and stuff like that. The main idea of those changes had to do with more or less helping people with gunsmith tasks not have to try to look for items that they were going to get gouged for on the flea market. Now, certain items you couldn't get away from, but for the most part, things like the 74U build especially ended up becoming incredibly easier because the vendored items were available that much earlier for them. It's not all bad news, though. I mean, like 90+% of it is bad news. But hey, we got that little silver lining, you know, that little teeny silver lining. So the loot rates globally got buffed by about 15%. So you should see a little bit more loot around the maps. That's kind of nice. It's kind of nice, you know. It's not bad. Oh, and for those of you that like getting completely wasted on maps in Tarkov, you can find bottles of moonshine spawn now on customs and woods, like all over the place. Wherever food spawns, you can find moonshine now. So, you know, drink your sorrows away as Nikita ruins our gaming experience. Right? All right, cool. Sweet. But in addition to all of that, there's like a shit ton of ergo nerfs. And Vaseline now only has 6 charges, down from 10 as of this morning. Although they did lower the spawn rate of fuel and water filters, and they increased the cost of most all of the building modules in the hideout. Stuff like in order to get Lavatory 2, you need a Keck tape. And in order to upgrade the nutrition station from level 2 to level 3, you now need 2 of the Drano cleaners, you know, the black bottled ones, because reasons. The new library is 2 chainlets, horse figurine, and 400,000 rubles, and stuff like the new heating unit for heating 2 is 3D fuel and a thing of matches. So I don't know why it's just 3D fuel for heat. You're probably gonna run out of heat. Oh wait, I should probably just shut up because Nikita will just make us go chop firewood or something. Shut up, Onepeg, you idiot. Sorry. Just think of this as the basic idea is Nikita wants everyone to move slower. He's trying to slow it down for everyone across the board. And it probably won't be the end. It's going to be more. All right, and then the major part of this video having to do with the major ergo nerfs and on top of a stamina nerf that happened about 3 days ago. So from what I can tell, the stamina bars in general have had their pools decreased pretty significantly. I would say it feels somewhere around like 30 to 33, 35%, something like that, about a third. Also, the ergo changes that have been coming down the pipe with things like suppressors and magazine sizes, stuff like that, were pretty bad. And now they've gotten a bit worse. Quick thank you to the guys at the wiki for hooking me up with a ton of information. Thank you guys. I would not be able to do this stuff without you. And a special thank you to my man I'm Going Space for providing the list of changes that I'm gonna talk with you guys about now. So this list is taken right off of the Tarkov wiki, and I'm going to just kind of scroll through it. So that you guys can take a look at it. You can play this thing on a slower setting if you want to really look at all the pieces, or I'll have a link for you so that you can go and just look at it on the wiki if you want to there. This list here shows that more or less any of the larger capacity magazines have had the ergo on them nerfed considerably. Things like the 50-round mag for the XFAL SA-58 is now -20, which was -10. The power mag, 20-round magazine for the Saiga is now 26 ergo penalty instead of just 20. All the way down the board, anything that was a larger capacity magazine has kind of beat people about the head and face when it comes to their ergo penalties. Also, the Corund armor's repair cost got increased from a value of $800 to now $950. So the Corund, you should see an increase in cost. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else here that was really major. But things like this, for instance, the FN magazine for the P90, the 50-round mag, it never had an ergo penalty, and now it's -5. There's a lot of this, with the exception that mags for guns like the KAC Steel 7.62x51 10-round mag gave a bonus ergo of 2, whereas it used to not do anything. But conversely, something like the DVL 10-round mag, which never had an ergo penalty or buff either way, now has an ergo penalty tied to it. If you add this into the stamina buffs, if you add this into the stamina nerfs that came down the pipe yesterday, just having to do with the stat itself, you can see that the trend here is that they don't want you able to stand in one place and hold an ADS for very long. The idea being that it seems as though they want you to kind of keep your gun in the ready position and only ADS when you intend to fire, because honestly, you have about maybe 20 seconds on most of these cases, 25 seconds, even with halfway decent endurance stats, to be able to hold your arms at that position for very long. If I were to summarize this list, more or less it would be something akin to Nikita doesn't want you guys to be able to have high ergo builds on guns that are a little bit heavier, or guns that have higher capacity magazines. For whatever reason, the idea here is that he doesn't want people to be able to hold standing ADS positions forever, especially not if the gun is a little bit heavier. So the idea of having high capacity mags in an SA-58 that you're able to ADS for like 40 seconds before you end up getting tired is not going to be possible anymore. If you couple this with the overall stamina nerf that everyone has now, it looks like the idea is you're supposed to move slower around maps. You're not able to hold angles for very long, especially if you're in a more exposed position and you're not prone. But because of this, the meta is going to be a little bit slower moving than what we've seen in the past. I'm not necessarily opposed to this. I think Tarkov's run and gun strategies are kind of bogus, and it really does need to change. If anything, we've seen highlighted in things like the Punisher series that Pestily has done for the last couple of tournaments. Yeah, there's a place for people to do that run and gun style stuff on maps. And it can be really entertaining to watch. But I don't know if it's necessarily the spirit of what Tarkov's supposed to be. So I'm all for these changes. I think the game still needs to be significantly slowed down. I don't know necessarily if the loot itself is something that needs to be slowed down or what they can do about it economically speaking. But the leveling itself and the gameplay itself definitely should be at a slower pace than what it has been. I don't know if it needs to be DayZ slow, but it definitely needs to be slower. Anyway, thanks, guys. Hope you enjoy the news videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.